James Hayward, a 29-year-old freelance journalist in bustling San Francisco, had his life somewhat together, if you count attending posh book launches, interviewing eccentric artists, and occasionally forgetting his own mother's birthday as together. James was a lad's lad, always ready with a cheeky wink or a badly timed joke, and yet his love life was as disheveled as the laundry pile in the corner of his bachelor pad. On one inauspicious Tuesday morning, James found himself battling the 7 a.m. fog to make an interview with Clara Stevenson, a young hip ceramicist whose pottery was so popular it might as well have been gold dust. As usual, his morning routine was a mess. Among the chaos, he ended up wearing mismatched socks, one striped and one plain, which he didn't notice until it was embarrassingly pointed out by Clara mid-interview. Her laughter, light and tinkling like the wind chimes hanging in her cozy studio, puzzled him more than it should. Instead of the interview just being a blip in his hectic schedule, James found himself volunteering to attend her next pottery exhibition. He wasn't sure if it was her infectious laugh or the genuine passion in her eyes when she spoke about her art that drew him in. James, a man who couldn't keep a cactus alive, was suddenly in a world of kilns, clays, and glazes. A far cry from his typical rugby pub nights and sporadic gym attempts. The exhibition evening was a revelation. Somehow, between discussions of pottery techniques and admiring clay pots, James was thrown into a group of Clara's friends. They were an eclectic bunch, from environmentalists to tech startups founders, discussing everything from climate change to the latest in AI technology. Clara introduced James as the journalist with the quirky socks, and a small blush tinted his cheeks as he played along, folding up his pant leg to show off today's choice: neon green and polka dots. It wasn't just the art or the intellectual conversation that kept bringing James back. He couldn't deny the warm flutter in his stomach every time he caught Clara's gaze or the way she smiled, eyes crinkling at the corners. But as a self-proclaimed non-committal, James was in uncharted waters. It wasn't until Clara casually mentioned, as they sipped some ridiculously expensive coffee in a nearby cafe, that she appreciated his mismatched socks. It shows you embrace chaos, which is essential in making art and in life, probably. Months went by, seasons changed, and James found more reasons to turn up at pottery classes or eco-friendly workshops, even if it meant enduring teasing from his mates. His apartment, once a barren bachelor pad, started to feature odd clay pots on windowsills, and yes, pairs of deliberately mismatched socks became his new trademark. Do you ever think about how mismatched things sometimes make the perfect set? Clara mused one evening while they were watching the sunset from the rooftop of her apartment building, her head resting gently on his shoulder. James thought about his odd socks, the unlikely paths that crossed in the strangeness of life, and the peculiar, remarkable way he fell into this world. He looked down at Clara, her eyes reflecting the amber hues of the sunset. "Absolutely," he replied, squeezing her hand, feeling an odd sense of completeness. It turns out, he thought, some matches are made not because they are perfect, but because their differences can create something unexpectedly beautiful.